Pudd'nhead Wilson by Mark Twain. Pudd'nhead Wilson is a novel set in the antebellum South that centers on the consequences of one act of deception. A light-skinned enslaved woman named Roxy switches her baby with her master's child to give him a better life. The novel follows the lives of the two switched boys. Tom, who grows up as a privileged white man but develops corrupt habits, and Chambers, raised as a slave without knowledge of his true heritage. The arrival of lawyer David Wilson, who solves a murder using fingerprinting, ultimately reveals the switched identities, upending the community and the characters' lives. Let's deep dive into the book. Introduction to Dawson's Landing. The story opens in the small Missouri town of Dawson's Landing in the mid-19th century. It introduces the reader to a community steeped in Southern traditions and the complexities of a slave-holding society. The birth of two boys. Two boys are born on the same day, one to a wealthy white family, Thomas Driscoll, and the other to a slave woman named Roxy, who is only 1/16 black and predominantly white by descent. Roxy's child, valet de chambre, Chambers, is nearly indistinguishable in appearance from the white baby, Tom Driscoll. Roxy's desperate decision. Fearing for her son's future as a slave, Roxy switches the two infants in their cribs, ensuring her son Chambers grows up as the white heir, Tom, while the real Tom grows up as a slave named Chambers. This switch forms the central plot, setting the stage for the unfolding drama and the examination of identity and race. The rise of Pudd'nhead Wilson. The arrival of David Wilson, a young attorney with a penchant for collecting fingerprints as a hobby, earns him the nickname Pudd'nhead due to a misunderstood attempt at humor. Initially regarded as a fool, Wilson struggles to establish his law practice in Dawson's Landing. Tom's downfall. Tom, raised as the white heir, grows up spoiled and arrogant, indulging in gambling and accruing debts. Unbeknownst to the town, his behavior becomes increasingly erratic and corrupt, reflecting none of the noble qualities expected of his assumed lineage. The Italian twins and Tom's crime. The plot thickens with the arrival of Luigi and Angelo Capello, Italian twins who quickly become the object of the town's curiosity and racism. A series of confrontations between Tom and the twins escalates, culminating in Tom's theft of a large sum of money from his uncle, which he blames on the twins. The murder and investigation. Tom's desperate need for money to cover his gambling debts leads him to murder his uncle, Judge Driscoll. Pudd'nhead Wilson, using his fingerprint collection, takes on his first significant legal case, defending the falsely accused twins while also attempting to uncover the true murderer. Wilson's courtroom triumph. In a dramatic courtroom scene, Wilson uses the fingerprints collected from the murder scene to prove that Tom, whom everyone believes to be the white heir, is the murderer. The same evidence reveals that he is actually the slave-born Chambers, switching the identities back to their original statuses. Revealed identities and reversed fortunes. The courtroom revelation shocks the community, overturning social norms and racial identities. The real Tom, now recognized as Chambers, regains his rightful status, while the imposter faces the consequences of his actions and his true heritage as a slave. Conclusion and reflection. The story concludes with Pudd'nhead Wilson, heralded as a brilliant detective and lawyer, his earlier ridicule turned into respect. The town grapples with the exposed fragilities in their social fabric and the arbitrary nature of race and identity. Tom Chambers' fate is sealed by his actions, while the real Chambers adjusts to a new life of freedom and privilege, pondering the strange twists of fate that defined his existence. Let's explore together the main themes and concepts of the book. Identity and race. Pudd'nhead Wilson delves deeply into the constructs of racial identity and its social implications. By swapping two infants, one from a slave background and the other from a wealthy white family, Twain explores how racial identity is socially constructed and enforced. The novel questions the legitimacy of racial distinctions based on ancestry and skin color, suggesting that identity is fluid and often arbitrary, shaped more by social perceptions and conditions than by true genetic or racial differences. Nature versus nurture. The story examines the debate between nature and nurture by placing characters in reversed social roles. Tom, born a slave but raised as a white aristocrat, exhibits behavior that is morally corrupt, despite his privileged upbringing. Conversely, Chambers, born white but raised as a slave, adapts to his role without ever truly belonging. The narrative poses questions about what really shapes human behavior, our genetic makeup, or our social environment and upbringing. The fallibility of social hierarchy. Twain criticizes the antebellum South's rigid social hierarchy, highlighting its inherent injustice and the absurdity of the societal importance placed on race and lineage. The novel portrays the upper class, embodied by the false Tom Driscoll, as corrupt and degenerate, undermining the supposed superiority of the white aristocracy. This theme is a scathing commentary on how societal power often rests on precarious and unjust foundations. The role of law and justice. The novel presents a complex picture of law and justice through the character of Pudd'nhead Wilson, whose expertise and use of fingerprinting turn him from a mocked outsider into a respected figure in the community. The resolution of the murder case and the exposure of the baby's switch highlight the potential for law to correct social wrongs. However, Twain also suggests that the law is only as effective as the integrity and skill of those who wield it. Hypocrisy and integrity. Throughout the narrative, Twain exposes the hypocrisy of a society that prides itself on Christian morals while upholding slavery and racial injustice. Characters such as Roxy, who manipulates racial identities to protect her son, and Pudd'nhead Wilson, who stands as a figure of integrity in a corrupt society, illustrate the complex interplay between personal survival and moral righteousness in a deeply flawed world. The novel forces readers to confront the discrepancies between societal values and the reality of social practices. Let's talk about the author. Mark Twain, born Samuel Langhorne Clemens in 1835, is a cornerstone of American literature, celebrated for his witty humor and sharp social commentary. Growing up in Hannibal, Missouri, his experiences as a riverboat pilot inspired his most famous works, The Adventures of Tom Sawyer and Adventures of Huckleberry Finn. Twain's writing is notable for its use of vernacular speech and satire, effectively critiquing societal norms and injustices. His influential body of work includes novels, essays, and narratives that often highlight the absurdities of human nature. Twain passed away in 1910, leaving a profound impact on American cultural and literary landscapes. Sincere thanks for watching. If you found this summary helpful, consider taking a moment to hit the subscribe button, like or share the video. If you have any feedbacks or book requests, make sure to leave a comment. Regardless, I wish you a great day.